Wouldn't it be brilliant if Dwayne The Rock Johnson started dating Katarina Johnson-Thompson?
Would it?
I think that would be hilarious. It's
Dwayne...
probably not as hilarious as listening to Just Another Retrocast, which is released every Thursday.
Just search for SNEW with the crew online. If you Google it, there's loads of results, actually.
Yeah.
You've done that recently.
I have. It was quite interesting.
If you've got a moment at home, search on Google or Bing or what's the old Jeeves.
Maybe, you never know. One day on Just Another Retrocast, we'll do a special on
AOL.
Search engines and browsers, like Netscape and AOL. It won't happen, we're joking.
No, we're generally earlier than that, but we can leave everybody with the dial-up tone.
Yeah. So if you want more of this retro-sounding nonsense, listen to Just Another Retrocast every Thursday, and our other show, Chris,
The Snooze Button, which is released
every Tuesday.
And if you ever
every week.
And if you ever find yourself in an international athletics event, please ask Katarina Johnson-Thompson if she'd ever think about dating Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Enjoy the podcast.
That dial-up hurt my throat.
Welcome to episode number 7 of Just Another Retrocast with Mr. Adam Gattrell, but only for 5 minutes.
Yeah, hello. Sorry about that. I'll be here for a little while and then I'll have to pop off because I've got to do some work. Yeah.
Be working on something, but
Wade's
video editing. I'll have my YouTube channel sorted soon for my Cow Speak show, and then you'll all be sorry.
Paul, hello.
You're all right.
How's it going?
Yeah, not bad.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And Ross Murphy.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You all right?
So, just another Retrocast this week, guys. We're going to be talking about games and stuff from our child. No, it's not. Toys and stuff from our...
Wrong straight away.
Toys and stuff from our childhood. I think we've kind of covered this before a little bit. So it's kind of a part 2.
Well, I remember you talking about the ball and the cup that you used to have. And
The old Victorian toys.
And the stick.
That was the most technological toy I ever owned.
Yeah, I used to play with mine on the back of that woolly mammoth I had. Yeah. While my dad was out hunting with his Cyber-2 fucking tiger.
Yeah. Anywho, so
amazing.
yeah, we kind of set each other a little bit of a task where we said we'd have our top 3 toys that we had when we were kids, the top 3 that we wanted, and the top 3 most disappointing, I think we said, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so Adam's going to do his before he buggers off.
Yeah, I had real difficulty with the top 3 toys from childhood because I couldn't...
It's mostly because you're a giant man baby and you still got lots of toys.
Well, no,
isn't
it's
it?
because I didn't have many as a kid. I bought more as an adult. When I was a kid, most of the stuff I played with was other people's because I didn't really have a huge amount. I had a few things. So my top 3 would probably be of old school stuff that I did have when I was a kid was the Ghostbuster figures. Like my mum got me all 4 of them for one of my birthdays. Probably my unicycle.
Oh, fuck off.
What?
You had a unicycle. Of
Yeah.
course you had a unicycle.
I've still got it.
Why am I not surprised?
I used to get very bored, so people bought me things to shut me up. I was a hyperactive, annoying brat. I was worse than I am now.
There's that Adam Gattrell kid on his unicycle juggling. I wonder if he gets bullied.
Oh, no, I couldn't ride it. I'd just get up in the garden and just try and ride it over and over and over again.
Fall over, knock yourself out, and your mum got peace and quiet for half an hour.
Exactly, yeah.
That was definitely not the inner monologue of a 12-year-old kid on the other side of the street to Adam, though, Ross, was it? Because he would just go over and hit him with a stick.
Yeah.
He wouldn't think it.
Oh, mate, if I'd
Not where I lived.
If I'd have seen somebody cycling down the road with juggling on a unicycle, I'd be going, I wish I had a broom handle just to throw through the spokes right now.
Oh, dear.
I did that once as a kid. Did I speak about it on a
You
podcast?
did.
Yeah, you did.
Nearly died.
Yeah. The third thing I never put in my top 3 toys isn't something I had as a kid, but something I wanted as a kid that didn't exist, and now it does.
Friends.
Lego Ghostbusters. No, I've made all of those myself out of robotic parts over the years. I've got plenty of them now, made out of robot parts. So yeah, my top 3 are, the unicycle, my Ghostbusters action figures, and then nowadays it's the Lego Ghostbuster Firehouse and Lego Ghostbuster car. It's just an amazing, beautiful set. and yeah, I love it to bits. Shall I do my other top threes before I head off? Just leave you with those, yeah, and then you guys can chat about yours in a bit more depth, can't you? So top 3 most wanted when I was a kid.
Friends. Same ones. Always be the same.
Yeah. A werebear.
A front wheel for his unicycle. Is a werebear similar to my big pet monster?
Yeah.
I don't know. Werebear.
No, werebear's a teddy bear that
smaller.
turns into a.
Werebear was like about a foot.
And it was
high,
cute and cuddly,
and,
but
you
you
could
unfolded,
turn the head.
and
turn the head.
claws came out.
There was a
of the
kid
hand.
up the road from me that had one, and I just wanted to beat the shit out of him so I could take his werebear
Couldn't
away.
catch up with him though because he had an actual bike with 2 wheels, didn't he?
Oh, he was so fat he'd roll away quicker than I could keep up.
Like the dude in Hook. Bangarang!
The other most wanted is a various Masterpiece Transformers, specifically Bumblebee. That's more of a modern want.
That's quite an easy get though, because you just get the movie one, can't you?
I want the proper Volkswagen Beetle Bumblebee. Why would I want the shitty movie one?
Didn't do a masterpiece of Bumblebee, but did
They have.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
They have now. They finally got the license. Yeah.
Yeah.
What, for the Volkswagen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they do him as a Volkswagen in the... You know the ones that they did that series of Transformers where they were real modern day vehicles?
Yeah. Alternators.
Alternators, yeah. I've got a load of alternators, but yeah, they didn't do Bumblebee in those, no.
That guy at Crossfield Avenue's got the Ford F-150 truck, and
Yeah, he does,
Optimus Prime turns into. They're cool, the alternators.
Yeah,
I
I've got
approve of the
a
alternators.
load of the alternators, but I just want that Bumblebee Volkswagen Beetle. And the other, there's various yo-yos over the years that I've wanted. I do own
Yo.
Yeah, yo. I do own a competition yo-yo that I won quite a while back. That's got
Competition in what?
yo-yoing.
Oh, right.
You got
Yeah.
like the clutched ones.
I thought you said you
Yeah, this one of the ones I've got that I won in a competition has got gold ball bearings inside it, and like a metal double clutch system, and it's just beautiful and it never goes wrong. The string's like the most perfect string. I've never had to change it. I still use it now. I can flick it out at people's face and back to me with complete accuracy and no worry that it's going to fling off and hurt them. Yeah, it's a beautiful yo-yo, but recently I've seen more amazing yo-yos, and there's the one by the Something Company called the Superfly Remix Updated Metal Phaser yo-yo.
Look at
So,
that.
were we still talking about yo-yos when you said you like to flick it off in people's faces with accuracy?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
When you're like, look at that knobhead over the other side of the road on his unicycle with that yo-yo. I'm going to fucking throw this stick through his handlebars.
I'm starting to
He
think
hasn't
that
got any
Ross grew
handlebars,
up
mate.
as
It's a unicycle.
I'm starting to think that Ross grew up on the other side of the road to me as one of those people that was a bit of a cunt.
Yeah.
No, I was too much of a pussy ass nerd myself.
Yeah.
I was probably getting bullied as well.
Yeah, I didn't get bullied when I was younger because I lived next to a forest and we were all mental cases. It's only when I got to a certain school age that the bullying started. I don't care anymore. I've turned out all right. Look at me.
Well, it's debatable. You've got a yo-yo and a unicycle.
Yeah, I've got 14 yo-yos.
You sat in a small living room with 4 men chatting about
Toys.
toys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, turned out great, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah. I think I'm all right.
Yeah,
I
we're all
think
the
I'm
same.
all right.
Yeah.
And then, 3 most disappointing toys. I'm going to start with a recent one. I bought the latest Deadpool Marvel Legends figure from Hasbro through Forbidden Planet, and it turned up, and none of the joints worked in the left arm.
It's not very retro.
It's quite a retro style toy, Marvel Legends. They've just started doing decent sets again.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be toys from your
yeah,
childhood.
Yeah. I've got toys from my childhood. This is just one that I need to bring up because it's
thing
a
is,
gripe of
You want to
mine.
bring it up so you can have a bitch.
The other thing is
There
that toy
is an
wouldn't
issue with
exist
us.
if it wasn't for your childhood as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it defined you,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we defined like pop culture.
Yeah, like Marvel Legends
Whether
figures from when I
intentionally or
was a kid were amazing, and then Hasbro now make them for Marvel, and they are so bad. Like, I sent it back. Forbidden Planet sent another one out. Same issues. So I think they sent me the same figure back. So I sent it back to them going, I want this replaced. Spent money on this, you know. Like, you make all these cool figures for people. Like, the company's taken over and they've done a bad job on this one. Just get them to send me one that's, like, sorted. They kept it and said, we don't do 3 returns. Like, you've sent it back
Send it back for a
twice.
refund,
We're not going to do it. You give you a refund. I was like, right, okay. So I ordered it again through them. Got another one. Same problem again. So I sent that back. They sent me another one. Same problems. Other arm. So they just must have a whole entire batch of badly made
all that
figures.
toy shit.
Well, no, because all the others in that series are brilliantly designed, and I've looked at them and they're fine. But it's like that particular one are just badly made for some reason.
Do you know what I'd do if I was you, especially if I was you? I'd flick off on it and then send it back, and then use a UV light when the new one turns up. Make sure that it's not the same one. What?
That's a good idea.
Yo-yo.
The other disappointing toy. I don't know if this will resonate with everyone, but every other Kinder Egg you open. Throughout my entire life, when I was young and now, every other Kinder Egg was shit.
Yeah, know what you mean.
I will tell you now, apart from specifically Mexico 86 ones, all Kinder Eggs are rubbish.
No, the Looney Tunes figures were great, but you very rarely actually get one.
Seen the new Avenger ones?
Are they the round big heads with the
Yeah.
tiny bodies and they unclip and you play a weird game? Yeah. Shite, aren't they?
I don't know, I thought they were better than the shitty little dragons you get. That
Oh, yeah.
posing in
Solid form. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point of
I
solid
don't
form
understand it.
toys in Kinder Eggs?
Yeah, like it
bollocks.
should be built parts
Build
that
it
you
yourself,
put
yeah.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
how else do you keep your child busy for bloody half an hour
Yeah, exactly.
or
yeah.
less?
Or less, yeah. 5 minutes if it's got 3 pieces.
Oh, talking of shit toys and collectibles, fun fact I found out this weekend. I don't know how true it is because I don't know where the data coming from, but I read on Twitter that 15 to 20% of all comic shop revenue comes from Funko Pops now.
Yeah.
15 to 20% of all revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. That does not
me.
surprise me. If you've been in any comic shop anywhere in the country recently, they have at least an entire wall of these stupid bobble-headed fuckwits.
I don't understand the attraction at all.
No. When they were blank years ago and you had to import them from Japanese and you'd sit there with Sharpies...
Import them from
and-
Japanese.
From Japan, yeah. How angry I am about it. When they were blank and you ordered them in from Japan and you had Sharpies and you'd colour the blank figures, they just had different shaped ones.
Yeah.
And you did them yourself, and comic artists would do the characters they draw in their style onto them. That was interesting. You know, it was like quite a quirky little thing. You'd get one and just colour it yourself with your own sort of superhero colours. You'd make up your own suit or whatever. But now it's just like everything, anything, and absolutely everything.
Well, yeah, it's like what's devalued Lego a little bit in my mind. But I think the problem with Funko Pops, and it's going to sound it's a bit like it's a bit like what are they called? Not poppadoms. They come in a tube and they're crisps.
Pringles.
Pringles, yeah. I was thinking Pops, poppy crisps, and I forgot they were called Pringles. Yeah, I think with Funko Pops is you can't ever bring yourself to buy one because that will open a... I think that's why people collect them, because they go, I'll just get the Boba Fett, and I need every Star Wars figure, and they've got Game of Thrones, and I need an Indiana Jones. And then before you know it, you've got a house full of tat.
Yep.
Yeah,
More than our houses are full of tat already.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I think with them, you would feel more and more hollow inside, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because they
each
don't
one you
they
bought.
don't even have like
Fucking horrible.
articulation of
Yeah,
like. You'd hope that at least their arms move.
I understand.
No.
Like, I would still quite like the Boba Fett just to go with my Boba Fetts.
Yeah,
Because
but that's
it's a
different. Yeah, and
but I just know that it would be like, well, I've got that now, so let's get the rest of the bounty hunters and move on to the droids, and then
yeah, but I wouldn't be able to do it. If I
And then
knew
before
that
you
I
know
could
it,
just
you've got
get
the
the
Ghostbusters.
Donatello turtle and have him with all my other Donatello Turtles action figures, because he's the only one I get of every single series of Turtles figures.
see, that's weird because there's only 4 turtles. I think
Yeah.
I could probably commit to that if I was into turtles.
not when when certain figures are like £80 each. Like I can't afford to buy all 4 and justify that. Like that's just insane. Max Factory figures are just very expensive. But yeah, anyway, we digress. The third disappointing toy from my childhood has got to be Mousetrap.
Really?
Yeah.
One of the most popular games ever made.
Yeah, because like everyone went on about it, and there was other kids that had it, and it was like you'd always see it on the shelf at their house and be like, "Oh, can we play Mousetrap?" And they're like, "No."
Takes too long to
Like, oh, it takes ages. Or
No,
like,
because it's fucking right.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I finally got it, at a charity shop, like when I was like, I think I must have been about 11, sorting charity shop, went, I have to have this. Like, borrowed money off a mate, got it, we took it back to my mate's house, got it out, set it
Had
up.
the ball missing.
No, had all the parts and everything, but what a boring, fucking laborious bullshit board game that is.
Do you know what?
It's not interesting in the slightest.
Better than Game of Life.
Do you know?
I prefer
like
that.
Game of Life's a better game than Mousetrap.
Yeah.
Yeah, much better game.
Yeah.
I tell you what,
There's an element of fun in it.
I genuinely dislike. I hate this game with an insurmountable amount of rage, and I can't believe. And no amount of licensing. Doesn't matter what you're into and what you're.
Please say it's the same one I hate.
And
I think I know what he's going to say.
Yeah.
what do you think I'm going to say?
Cluedo?
No, Monopoly.
Yes.
It doesn't
hate
matter.
Monopoly.
They have licensed Monopoly for everything, and it is still bollocks. And then you go, and then
let's put a credit card machine in it.
Licenses as well. It's like Game of Thrones Monopoly. Like, I'm sorry, in what part of Game of Thrones do you go around buying houses and hotels, and Game of Thrones Star Wars? Oh yeah, let's just be like intergalactic.
Game of Thrones Star Wars.
House
Monopoly Star
barons
Wars.
on Coruscant. Yeah, I fucking hate Monopoly. It's a shit,
I agree.
boring game.
I have like 7 different ones that were given to me of different
I'd just throw it
licenses
away.
that I've never opened. That
Don't throw
I'm
them
trying
away.
to
Keep
sell.
them. Yeah, just keep them for a while. They
I've got a
will
sealed
raise in
Star
value.
Wars one. I've got a sealed something else one. I just want to get rid of them.
The thing I find
Take
with
up so
Monopoly
much
is it
space.
causes so many arguments.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And actually, the fact to the point where this year, the Christmas just gone, who makes it?
Mattel.
Mattel.
Whoever is probably Hasbro now, isn't it?
No, it's
So-
Hasbro, isn't
is
it?
it
Yeah,
Hasbro?
Hasbro.
So-
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
made
was,
it.
I'm sure it was
They had a-
Mattel, wasn't it?
No,
I think it's always
Hasbro.
been Hasbro.
So over the Christmas period, for I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks, they had a dedicated hotline for people so that they could phone in and check the rules with them.
Yeah, because no one understands
Oh yeah,
the
that's the other
fucking
thing.
rules when you
Everyone
read
plays
them.
with their own house rules, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, quite a lot of people get shit wrong.
There have actually been divorces because of Monopoly.
Right.
And then there's always one cunt who thinks they're Gordon Gekko and thinks it's all right to just take whatever they like out of the bank because you know capitalism.
And that's the other thing as well. Like Monopoly, the currency used in Monopoly, more Monopoly money has been printed than any currency ever. Just because the amount of people that also like, you think every box, how much money's in a box of Monopoly, and then you can buy Monopoly money from Hasbro if you've lost notes or they've got damaged or whatever, and people spend shitloads of money, and then there's been artists that have bought from Hasbro shitloads of it to be made to do artwork with and stuff like this.
Shit.
So there's more Monopoly money been printed than any other currency. Like, it's insane.
Cool.
And I don't know anyone that likes playing it.
I don't mind it.
And I don't know anyone that likes Mousetrap.
I don't mind that.
No, but like really enjoys it that they would play it every Christmas with friends and family. And do you know what I mean? Most people are like, oh yeah, I had that. Yeah, it was all right. And it's like, yeah, how many times did you play it? Well, like 3 or 4.
It's
And then it's
just
like,
the
yeah, and then it just
fascination.
ended up in a cupboard, didn't it?
It's just the fascination of the trap, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
the
But it
all
just
the stuff
wasn't.
going on and
Oh,
at the
it
end.
just, yeah.
Just yeah.
I just found it so disappointing when I finally got it. Maybe it was the hype of everyone else, but then everyone else would never play it, and it's like that's because they've played it more than 3 times, and it's not fun anymore.
Adam, you know what you need? You need a steampunk era version of Mousetrap.
A steampunk era version of Mousetrap, that would be good. Little methylated spirits on a little pad, and light it underneath a steam thing that causes
Well,
it
I'm
to...
just thinking like
Yeah.
twisting
Yeah.
handles
Cogs.
and turning things and really stupidly
Yeah.
inappropriate
That
amount
might
of
be
movements.
That would
to
make
get
it a
them.
little bit more interesting.
Do you know what? I understand. I understand the feeling the kids who owned Mousetrap have, because I have it now with
Yeah.
Cards Against Humanity. People are like, "Oh, you've got Cards Against Humanity. Let's play it," and you're like, "Nah." I've told.
Yeah, but have you
I've
just
told
got the
these-
base
I've
set?
told all these jokes.
Have you just got the base set?
I think Cards Against Humanity should only be sold as a complete thing with all the cards now. You know, they do the meter-long version.
Yeah,
of
I've got
it.
the bigger, blacker box.
But that's American only, isn't it?
No, I've got it. You can buy it on
you
Amazon.
can buy it here, but it's like the humour's based on American
What? So
culture.
it's not funny.
No, you get a UK version. You get a UK version of
Didn't used to be
various
UK.
sets. There's only 2 sets that you can only get the American versions of, which is expansion 1 and 2.
That's what the bigger blacker box is.
No, it's not.
All of the expansions.
No, it's not.
Anyway,
it's just,
let's not
it's
get
just
into
a
an
box
argument
with.
about
It's
Cards Against Humanity.
no. What it is, it's a box with a load of blank ones in. You get like a chunk of blank ones, so you can write your own cards.
I just bought 2 rip-off sets and just started making my own.
Yeah, I bought the bigger blacker box and been making my own blank cards since then. It's quite good.
We should play Cards Against Humanity here one day. We can just make our own cards.
Yeah, part of the show.
What, live Cards Against Humanity? Well,
That'd
live.
be quite
recorded,
funny.
podcasted.
A few drinks, Cards Against Humanity.
Podcast Against Humanity.
Some cards related to each of us.
I've never played it yet. So
Have you
Have
not?
you not?
No.
Oh, it's
You put
brilliant.
this right up your street.
Oh
mate.
yeah, I know that. It's just the boxes are so quite. Well, I looked on Amazon. They're really expensive.
It's like
for what
20
you
quid
get.
for a starter set, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but starter sets like that big and it's literally full of cards.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a lot better value than you think it is for how
Cool.
much fun you get out of it.
You don't need an expansion.
No.
You can
You need
survive
to-
with what you get
You
for
need
a
to
long
play it
time.
with like-minded people, though.
Yeah,
True.
that's true.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Very true.
Yeah, don't play it with your nan and someone that
I don't know.
works in the
mine
local
are.
charity shop.
Yeah.
They might not understand the humour of Jimmy Savile so well.
Oh, yeah.
We could play it with your mum, Paul. We'd be all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, considering what your brother comes out with in front of her.
Yeah.
You'd
I
be
thi-
fine, mate.
I think my 2 favourite cards in it are AIDS and Jimmy Savile.
they're basically
If I have
like
any of those
you
two,
will
I'll hang
always
on to
win if you use those cards, unless someone's got a great combination of something else. But
My
they're
favourite
pretty
one
much
is
always winners.
Allah, praise be unto him. That's quite a good one sometimes. Just because, it's the praise be unto him bit that makes it funny. Anyway,
Yeah, I can't say what my favourite one is.
is it Madeleine McCann's, what is it,
Rotting Corpse.
Rotting Corpse or something? Yeah.
Probably one
Charred
of those.
Remains.
Yeah, probably one of those dark ones, or like Jade Goody's Cancerous, whatever
Oh,
it
it's
is. or
Jade
something.
Goody's Cancerous Remains
Yeah.
and Madeleine McCann's, I don't know.
No, the card's just Madeleine McCann, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
just Madeleine
yeah.
McCann.
There's some dark ones in there that are very funny.
So the idea is there's a card that asks, somebody asks a question.
One of the cards has a question or a
statement.
statement,
Yeah.
or a card with a blank bit.
And
Right.
then all
And then
the
you
other
have to-
cards.
So it's
are
question
all
and answer,
answers.
basically. You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to-
or fill in the blank.
Got you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
up for
great.
that.
But
Yeah.
you
So you'd have something like blank was found inside blank, so then you'd go Jimmy Savile was found inside Madeleine McCann.
Yeah.
Cool. Right.
Yeah.
Get it. Yeah, I'm up for that. Not that scenario. I mean, just the cards.
It doesn't, Paul. It doesn't matter. They're both dead.
Or are they?
Shall we move on?
Yes.
Right. we should.
On,
Should we let
on that
Adam go?
note, I'm going to disappear and leave you guys to
Thanks for joining us,
carry
Adam.
on. Thank you very much for having me, as you do sometimes. In
Before
this
you
room.
disappear, where can we find you?
Adam Gatchell Arts on Facebook and the YouTubes. Show on Thursday the 24th. Cow Speak at the Anchor and Cows.
Cool.
Adam
Wicked.
Gatchell can be found in blank.
AIDS.
Right. Shall we, Paul? Shall we do
crikey.
you, mate?
No. Let's
get Murphy
do.
on.
Let's do one each.
All right. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Do one each of our favourites.
What are we going to do? Most wanted, most disappointed, and then best toys at the end.
Whatever you want. Yep. Go on then, Ross.
I actually took some time off work today. Like I had a lunch break to actually genuinely do. Quite often I turn up to the podcast with no clue what I'm doing, but today I thought I'd best do the homework.
Cool.
Because I think it needed to be done, and I had a good long think about this. And there's a few things that slipped off the list. I thought of them at a later date, but like things like Zoids, pretty much really like Zoids. The adverts. I think a lot of things are adverts. Adverts were brilliant for things.
Yeah.
And then I watched some adverts today just to remind myself of why I love DC. And weirdly, it wasn't big things that I coveted. Like I never wanted that big action force fucking aircraft carrier.
The flag.
G.I. Joe to the one person on our on our analytics who lives in America that listens to our show. It was called Action Force over here, but you probably know that because you're nerdy enough to listen to this podcast. But yeah, so I just the first thing on my list, it was called the He-Man Evil Horde Slime Pit. See, I couldn't remember, and I thought it was part of like Skull Mountain, but it's not. It was this separate little thing, where it was a trap and it trapped a He-Man figure with a claw that went up through its groin.
It was
and
like a
pinned it.
pervy, gropey.
But then it was
great.
that perfect 80s era of slime, and they just had slime with everything.
Yeah.
And
much to every parent's dismay.
And I think the weird thing is, I don't remember it from this advert, but I definitely remember seeing, like, and it was a really silly idea to do it, but I remember seeing Mossman getting slimed and thinking that's a really silly idea, because Mossman, if you don't remember, was the furry.
Yeah, it's going to ruin your figure, surely.
Yeah, ain't going to clean that one
It's
ever.
just a Beastman mould, but instead of being orange, he just was green. He had the, like, green felt glued to him.
Yeah.
But it's typical Masters of the Universe. I mean, not only are all the figures and it's all double entendre, isn't it? You've got a creepy hand that grabs a muscle man from between the legs,
And then comes in
and
his
then
hair.
you slime him from his face downwards. I mean, it's all that's what I loved about that whole line. It was all full of just filthy double entendre, the whole lot.
Cool.
And obviously,
argue
of
with
course, I never had it because it was He-Man, and He-Man was evil. So I
Evil
wasn't
and
allowed it.
slime's from ghosts and ectoplasm. So yeah, it's like you'd be possessed.
But do you remember the thing I mean?
Yes.
Like, I bet none of us had it because it wasn't probably a particularly good toy.
I don't think I was allowed anything with slime at all.
Or evil things like Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, evil things were fine. But still, right, coveted then. So it's stuff that you wanted we're doing,
So this was our most wanted. So give us another most wanted, Paul.
Right, have you just done the most wanted then? Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do
Right.
one of each, and then we'll go round until we've done.
Well, they keep on track with the whole rubbish. Well, great advert, absolutely brilliant advert. Promised the world, and then you got the toy, and it was shit. I'm glad I never got a Mr. Frost, even though I desperately wanted one as a kid.
It's the wrong section, Paul.
No, it's not. He
No,
really
most
wanted
wanted. I never got it.
But it's not in your most disappointing section.
one. No.
No, it isn't. But that's the twist. I desperately wanted it as a kid, but now I know what it is.
It's a bit shit.
It's dreadful, but yeah, I desperately wanted it.
Fair
it
enough.
was the way they just sort of put it across on that advert.
That and the Play-Doh Mop Top Shop.
Mop
whatever it
Top
was
Hair
called.
Shop. I just wanted to squeeze shit through people's heads.
Do you know?
What kid doesn't want to do that? But I knew the toy was going to be dreadful, but I desperately wanted
I think
that.
the thing is with Mop Top Hair Shop, we're all probably too old to even have it. Really,
Yeah, maybe.
it would have been something my sisters would have wanted.
Yeah,
Mop
yeah,
Top
yeah.
Hair Shop. I want to put in that category because, and it's not a toy, so I'm going to interject that. But something that was similar to that, SodaStream machine. Always wanted one of those.
I've got one.
No, yeah, but it's not the same anymore, is it?
Wow. Well, just because you can't buy Gremlin's bloody mixer to put in it anymore. That was a thing.
Seriously?
Yeah. Gremlin's blood was one of the mixers.
See, I'd get a SodaStream just for that.
Promotional thing
Yeah.
for Gremlins. Yeah. So it was a green, like super sweet, the thing that you put in your SodaStream.
I never knew that. I'm going to get some.
I don't know if it's still available, mate. don't suppose it is.
I'm sure it's not edible, but I want one.
Somebody's stockpiled that. You don't really want it, do you? It's 30 odd years old.
So you dodged a bullet there, didn't you?
Oh, big time, yeah, big time. But yeah, there's another time I'm going to mention later where I didn't dodge the bullet, and it was the advert that promised the world and delivered fuck all.
Fair enough.
But go on, Chris. What about yours?
I wanted a Teddy Ruxpin.
Are you kidding me?
I am not
You
kidding
look a
you.
bit like Teddy Ruxpin. You wanted a cuddly teddy bear that you could put tapes in.
Yes, because I was fascinated with books on tape as a kid.
Yeah,
and
so
I
was
used
I,
to
but I didn't want that.
absolutely churn through them. I had loads of He-Man ones, loads of Transformers ones, Family Ness, like all sorts.
I might have said before, I can't remember when I talk about things on the podcast, but I had E.T.
Right.
narrated, and it was read by Drew Barrymore.
Okay.
But it was told from her perspective
Right.
as well. So it was her telling the story of E.T. And then, and it was it was brilliant.
Cool.
I'd like to find that copy of that.
But yeah,
It's
so
probably on YouTube, actually.
Yeah.
They've released quite a lot of them.
the idea of Teddy Ruxpin reading these books to me was just like, would have been amazing. but horrendously expensive. And nowadays they fetch shitloads. I don't know if you've seen it recently, but
It's a creepy little toy as well, though.
yeah, it is to a degree. But you know, I also used to watch the cartoon as well.
I bet
So
you'd like to circuit bend one of them, Paul, wouldn't you?
Big time.
circuit bend.
Oh, do you not know about circuit
I
bending?
don't think I do.
You take old toys from the 80s and 90s where the circuitry's all quite open and accessible,
Right,
and you rewire them. So you wire parts that shouldn't be connected together
right.
to see what sort of noise or effect it does to the toy.
Ah,
And it's become a real big thing. Nine Inch Nails have got circuit bent keyboards and things like that, and they use them, and lots of other bands, Beck and
okay.
people.
But people who really intrinsically understand electronics know what they're doing, but Paul just used to solder wires together and just go,
see what
Wish
happened.
for the best.
I've just made this Furby sound like Satan. Brilliant, Paul.
Well, in our first two albums, I've got about 3 or 4 different circuit bent instruments.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there.
Right, next.
Mine is my next thing, and I've seen one of these in the flesh. Kid had one. Is the Lego Space Monorail, but
Is
I
this
haven't.
Most Wanted?
Yeah,
We're still going to go through all the Most Wanted.
Yeah, and so, and it's I checked. They brought out 2 of these, and it's just for the nerds out there. It was 6990 and not 6991. That's the set numbers.
Yeah, okay.
So, and I always wanted it, but I think back in the day, even in Kay's catalogue, like cool advert, but also it was just one of those things in Kay's catalogue at the back in the autumn winter one. It was just it was like £120, which
Blimey.
in the 80s for a Lego set was obscene
Yeah, absolutely.
money. And my dad had a business partner back in the day who lived in if people don't know, it's a place called Esher, which is just part of Greater London, and it's one of the poshest places in the country. And he had so much Lego, and he had that set, and we were just around there, I think at Christmas one year, and I just built it and played with it for a day, and that was it. But I always wanted one.
Quite a sad story.
No, it's not, because I've got another a special mention just based on the fact that I knew kids with way more money than me.
Go on.
Is another thing I wanted, but I could never afford, but I got to play on it. As a kid, I knew had Scorponok, which was a G1 transformer, but it was one of the big
I
ones.
remember it. It's like a
Green and purple and orange
Decepticon
coloured,
city of some sort, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
like Scorpion that turned into it's about the same size as Metroplex, isn't it?
Bigger than
big.
Metroplex, yeah. It stands about 13 inches tall. something
How
like that.
much would that have been back in the day? Would that have been
Oh,
about
yeah, that
a
would have
one
been-
as well?
Probably not that, but I'm guessing nearer 40, 50 quid, which back then was quite a lot of money. Yeah, it was a substantial toy.
And what's it worth now?
Complete, probably about 150.
How much? How
Okay.
many have you
Fit
got?
200.
How many of them have you
Oh,
got?
just the one.
Full size.
Of
Just-
course.
just the
Of
one.
course.
Yeah, it's quite late G1, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, not actually that late. 86.
After the movie, or
Yeah, just
Yeah.
after the movie. It's the Headmaster's line, wasn't it? His little head popped off, and
yeah. But the fucking robot was massive, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, he could pick up his claws were big enough that he could pick up the small the bumblebee size robots.
Right.
But yeah, I always wanted one of those.
Cool.
But sorry for getting a cheeky fourth one in there, but I just
So-
thought it was relevant because of rich kids.
Fair enough. Hang on. Have we done
We all had rich friends with yo-yos and unicycles.
Adam? Right.
Paul, do your second.
I've got a few, but I'm just gonna say all the Secret Wars line. I bloody loved them. Do you remember the Secret Wars?
Secret Wars.
Yeah, you had Superheroes, which was DC's line. So you
Right.
had.
Were they the superhero figures that you could squeeze them and their arms did stuff?
That was the Superheroes, yeah.
Right.
And then Secret Wars was from the Marvel comic series.
Yeah.
And you got Wolverine, you got Spider-Man, they're all the same sort of scale, which is about, I think it was 4.5 inches tall, or 5 inches tall, something like that. And they were just basic posability, but really They were
Good
just
quality, yeah.
good quality for the day, brilliant, and basic articulation. They came with a little shield with a hologram thing on it. And
okay.
I think they got. You'd get a shield and some other gimmick. I can't remember what it was, but you get Wolverine, and it was all these really. There was no figures out there of these comic book characters at the time.
Right, yeah, of course.
And they were just great. They were bloody, and you got all the vehicles for him and Doctor Doom's death cycle or whatever it was. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I remember.
But, no interesting story. I managed to get quite a lot of them as a kid, but I just desperately wanted the whole set, and they were brilliant. And that's that. So nothing interesting.
I remember it as a memory, as a TV advert, and just perhaps we just didn't have the shops around that sold them. I don't know, but yeah, never saw one in real life. I don't think.
Oh, they were great. They were. That's what I mean. There weren't many of them around, but they were one of those great toy lines that came out at the time.
Cool.
So there you go. What about you, Chris?
Right, Inspector Gadget. Now
Right, you've gone Teddy Ruxpin. Now you're going.
He's weird, isn't he?
Gadget.
Listen.
weird.
There's a reason for this. Right, the
You
bad
wanted
guy.
a chair that when you spun it around, it just had a claw on it, spring going. Rah,
So
rah.
was his name the Claw? Was it Claw?
Yeah,
Claw or the Claw?
I think it was. Wasn't it the Hooded Claw?
Hooded Claw?
Oh no, the
No,
Hooded
that-
Claw was something else, wasn't it? That was a villain in 1960s
Something like-
cartoon. No, I
Something
think it was
like
just called the
Penelope
Claw.
Pip Stops. The hooded
Oh yeah,
claws
that's right.
from.
Yes,
Yeah, that's it.
right.
I think it was just called. It was. He was just called Claw, wasn't he? Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
was it Dr. Claw?
Dr. Claw, who knows?
Yeah,
Anyway,
I think it was.
the bad guy. There was a car that you could buy that turned into a submarine and an aeroplane. And it was the bad guys from Inspector Gadget. And I remember a kid at school had it, and I was just insanely jealous.
I never even.
It
knew
was
he
the best
produced
toy.
that.
It was amazing.
I've never seen that.
No?
That does sound good.
Yeah, it was like really big, large format, like, a good foot long. And well, actually, I was quite young. It's probably half that size.
I don't know though. It could
So-
have been same scale as the Ecto 1 vehicle that
maybe.
came out with the Ghost, but that's about a foot long.
Yeah, true.
Maybe a bit bigger actually.
But still, yes, this thing's bloody amazing. And it had just like bits that like flipped over to be other parts and stuff. And I just remember it being like
In
a
the
cool
era of
looking,
the Transformers.
fairly heavy duty looking toy. That was very cool.
That sounds
And I loved
well
Inspector Gadget. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with Inspector
good.
Gadget.
It's good, but when you watch it now, you just think he's an arsehole and she does all the work.
Wow, yeah, this is true. But go Gadget, go.
Yeah,
Go on then, Ross. Go
I think
Gadget,
that's
go.
a bit of the charm of the cartoon, isn't it?
it
That
is.
he's an
and it
incompetent belle.
Yeah.
Don't
absolutely.
forget that they made a movie of that with Matthew Broderick. I've never seen it, but
No, I think you need to forget.
I think the
that-
video. I think just the poster is enough to make you realise it's rubbish.
It never happened.
Again, coveting. I don't think I ever saw one of these in the flesh outside a toy shop until I was much older, when a kid had one and he would just kick flip over it because it made cool videos. But again, Star Wars, the Star Wars Kenner at.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was expensive again, wasn't it?
It was.
It was like if you were lucky, you would have the Millennium Falcon, but you would very rarely have the Millennium Falcon and the AT-AT.
Yeah.
True that no one ever had that
I
one. did they?
kind of did have both, but they were purchased as
Yeah,
second.
but you got siblings as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so they were purchased as second-hand items as Christmas presents, and we'd get like loads of Star Wars together as like group presents and stuff.
That is
so
cool, actually.
So, but I ended up inheriting the lot. So by the time I was like 16, I suppose I had a lot of Star Wars.
Because even if you had one now, it's still a cool toy. isn't
Yeah,
it?
true. You'd definitely
it's
display
quite a
it,
big
wouldn't you?
size. And actually, it wouldn't even some of the later ones they did. I think I think the Power of the Force one's probably just done from the same mould, isn't it?
I think it is. It's some very slight remoulding, but
But it's quite cool, isn't it?
yeah.
And I really, really wanted one of those.
Cool. Paul?
Well, I could say obviously all Transformers, but I've got two more written down. I've got the $6 Million Man. Every kid had it, and I loved it. And he had the beady eye thing at the back, but I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say Mark from Mark.
Mork from Mork.
Mark from Ork. Mark and Mindy. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
They released a toy. They released two figures of Mark.
Did they?
And one was a 12-inch action figure.
Right.
And the other one was a small. It was like 3.5, 3 3/4 action figure. But he came in a space egg.
Oh,
It was
wow.
a spaceship, it had a little window in it, and you'd crack open the egg, and it had a cockpit in there and everything. It was fucking awesome. And the only kid I knew had one was in the playground. He was the twat kid.
That's just reminded me of something completely off topic, but I remember somebody having this little wind-up fucking, E.T. ship.
Yeah.
I
But
had
do you remember the wind-up one, and it would open, and then E.T. would
Yes.
scoot out of the ramp?
Yeah,
I remember seeing
Yeah.
it. I had a wind-up one that just like rolled along on wheels. It didn't do
I
any
didn't
of that,
I didn't have it, but I remember some kid at school having it.
But yeah, that's quite a technological toy, that one, isn't it? With the little ET that comes out, surely.
Mm.
Maybe.
So why
Who knows?
Mork from Orc, mate?
Oh, did you not like that
You
show
just
when you were a
liked
kid?
both of you just picked really weird.
Oh, no,
toys.
it was Robin Williams at his peak, wasn't it? Everyone loved Mork.
I'm not
Mork,
sure
Mork and
that was
Mindy.
his peak.
It was in the 80s. Everyone bloody loved
Like
it.
when
Look
his
back now, it's
launched his
dreadful, but-
international film career
Well, yeah, but that's it was that and his tours, wasn't it? That got him. That was
and
his
his
first
Oscar
major.
nominations and things like
I
that.
don't
Yeah.
think I've seen a single episode.
Haven't you?
Don't think so.
Wow. It's pretty.
Is there a
naff.
special hello that he says?
Yeah, Nanu.
Nanu.
Yeah.
Okay. I did know that.
Yeah.
It's stored away in the back of my recesses of my mind there somewhere. Anyway,
Bit
Anyway.
like Bill Cosby, but funny and without the rape.
Yeah.
right, and my last one, I was going to say any of the Dinobots, but I decided actually in the end, Starcom. I never had any Starcom.
See, I think there's a
And-
reason why.
Is it not that great? I don't know. I was fascinated
Is
by
this
it.
a bullet dodge, do you think?
Yeah, it's hugely popular now.
Right. Yeah.
Still very expensive.
What, because it's a hipster toy?
It was coming right to the end. It came out right at the end after Mask and Transformers, and it was a basic magnetic gimmick where you'd put a magnet on something and it would transform into something else, or it would change shape or something.
And
or
they're
other.
really little, yeah?
They were absolutely tiny, really
Yeah.
well detailed, good, but just a bit fucking boring, to be honest with you. You had things like Mask, you had things like Transfer, and they all did it with so much more character. And
Damn it.
You say boring, but he also listed off the bad guy from Inspector Gadget and Teddy Ruxpin, so
that's
this is
true.
probably the most interesting toy. He even said, I could have picked a Dinobot, but I went for some magnets.
that's mental.
I never had any Dinobots.
I
either.
think the only Dinobot that would be a letdown would be, is it Swoop?
Do you know? No, I'd love a Swoop. I can't get that bastard for love nor money.
Have you still not got
I've
it?
still not got him because he's the most
Because he breaks,
knocked off.
doesn't he?
He breaks, and he's the most knocked off Transformer going, and convincingly knocked off. It's very difficult to find a real, genuine example of that one, and it's a bastard to get.
Interesting.
Yeah, expensive still as well because he was only released in America and Japan.
Okay.
Japan.
Yeah, never released over here.
Oh, well, they didn't release him over here?
Nope.
Ah, that makes him all that more collectible.
Absolutely. Right.
Do you
Favourite?
want to talk about magnets anymore?
No.
Can I just say one little special mention, because I don't know where to squeeze this in, but it just came to me when I was looking online, and you just did the image search, and it all came flooding back. Do you remember, and I don't mean the cartoon, but do you remember a series of Dungeons and Dragons figures?
Yes. I had,
Yeah, I've got
I had
some.
a few of them. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm fairly sure I had none, because,
Right.
demonic and all that. I probably definitely wasn't allowed any, but I'm
Okay.
fairly sure my cousins who actually had lead and pewter figures and played real Dungeons and Dragons had them. But the ones that just sprang to mind was the little half goblin
Yeah.
with the blue hood and the green face, or the black boy, I don't know. He always springs to mind, and he's quite fresh in my memory now after seeing it. And the wizard, I always thought the baddie, evil sorcerer, was quite a cool character as well.
Avenger or
No, this is what I'm saying, not from the cartoon
Oh, I
series.
see.
There was a series of Dungeons and Dragons figures.
Yes, okay.
And they were just and they were literally, they
Well-
had a name, but they were just the very archetypal character classes from the game, so there was evil sorcerer and ranger and things like that.
Sure.
And evil goblin.
But there were two different ranges of those. So there was a slightly smaller figure that had articulation,
Yeah.
and that tended to be, you had your heroes as well as like the bad guys. So there was like the knight guy that was just like his helmet was split down the middle, and
Yep.
it had like a stag's antler on one side,
Yep.
and the other side was just like a normal knight's helmet.
Okay.
I don't know if he was a character from the cartoon or not. I don't think
I
he
don't.
was.
No, I think the cartoon range was a completely different range.
Right, so Yeah, but at the same time, you had a slightly larger format, solid figure. They were all solid, like, but kind of flexible.
Or was it the other way round? There's the solid ones were smaller.
No, the solid ones were definitely bigger.
There was
But I had the frogs that were in the cartoon in this larger range.
Yeah,
but I also had loads of other stuff that definitely was not in the cartoons.
That's because the cartoon was still based on things from the board from the role playing game.
And then they did a range of stuff from the cartoons which were larger still with articulation.
Yeah, because a lot of those have just become archetypal. Like what you're saying about the amphibian guys.
Yeah,
that's the thing now. Like there's amphibian. They're called I think they're called Murlocs in World of Warcraft, and they've just spawned from either Tolkien or Dungeons and Dragons. It's the same rat people. That's an archetype from from
Dungeons
those
and
games.
Dragons. Okay, fair enough.
There's a race in Warhammer called like Skaven, and they're just rat people.
I know the
But yeah, sorry, I just thought I'd mention them.
No, they're great. They were by
Have
LGN.
you got some?
Yeah, I've got some in the shop actually. LGN. From 84 to 85, there was 2 series. It was quite a short run. There was some larger figures. I think they were about 8 inches tall, something like that. They were generally like warlocks and things like that, great big things. And then they had, like you say, the knights, and there was some good knights, evil knights. It was basically good and evil. Yeah, that's all you had. They were really good, really interesting, some of them. Yeah, made by LJN, sorry, the people who did Thundercats and a few other items.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they were well built. They're really good. Yeah, interesting set of figures, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right, favourite stuff. Ross.
Do you want to do favourite, or should we do most disappointing?
Let's do favourite, and
Okay.
then we'll do disappointing quite quickly, because it's
Okay.
8:45.
All right. Right. Favourites, absolutely categorically the best toys I've ever owned are Optimus Prime, G1 Optimus Prime.
Okay.
It's fucking brilliant.
Quality
It's still
figure.
brilliant now. Had so much stuff with it. Like, if that was your only Transformer, there was enough that you could play with it.
Yeah,
It
true.
had so many bits. And he was just brilliant.
What was the little thing that came out the back? Was it called Ranger or
Roller.
Rover?
Roller. Paul, do you want to do one? There's not much you even need to say about Optimus Prime except for you end up losing his fists.
Yeah, fair enough.
Joe, I tell you what, if we're going to... I reckon if we keep this, just to keep this speed up, if you just fire through your top 3, I'll do mine, then we'll do it that way.
What
do you think?
Does it? Well, just stick to the format that we've
Okay,
been doing.
cool. All right.
Go on.
Remco Dracula.
Red coat.
Remco. The
Remco
Dracula
Dra-
by
oh, right.
Remco. I bloody loved
The
it.
one that your mum bought you when you were
Yeah,
poorly.
that's the
or
one I
something.
mentioned it before. You press a big button on his back. He got squeezy hand action. He looked fucking rank. It was cheaply made, and he glowed in the dark. What more do you want?
Have you still got him?
Yeah, it's not the same one, but I've managed to get hold of one. I bloody love it. It's fantastic.
Cool.
What about you, Chris?
Brave Star figures.
No, good choice.
They were amazing.
I've got a Tex Hex in the shop.
Okay.
Is it? Yeah, Tex Hex.
Yeah, Tex Hex and Handlebar Moustache, the barman. He
Yeah.
had like a throwing disc action. So, but you could like do his arm, so he could do a karate chop,
They
or
were
he could
great
throw his
toys.
discs. And they were just like nice, hard, solid format, big things. Oh, and I had some of the buildings as well.
Yeah.
I had a bank, and you could like push a little plunger thing, and the bank would explode,
Brilliant.
and the bullion would come out. Whatever the crystals they used to collect.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, so I had Brave Star, I had Handlebar, I had the little dwarf dude, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Did you have the horse?
I didn't have
30-30.
30-30, no.
30.
And I don't think I had Tex Hex. No, I think that was it. I
I've
think I
got
had
Tex Hex in the shop at the moment, and I had a Sandstorm up until recently. And
Sandstorm.
Sandstorm, he was like one of his henchmen.
Okay.
Have any of you got Strength of the Bear, Speed of a Puma, Eyes of the Hawk, Ears of the Wolf?
Well, I thought I did, but I was just really drunk this one evening. Ended up on the
That's a lie. I don't think I've ever seen you drunk.
It's usually I get a little bit tiddly and then I black out.
You get a little bit tiddly and you're like, no, I'm just water and Coke and I'm going home.
Dead. So yeah, no, they were great figures going back. I always assumed because they were so much like the Thundercat figures, I thought it was LJN again, but that was Mattel. That
right, okay.
they were bloody good solid figures, really well articulated as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Well, mega. What about you, Ross?
Back to me, is it?
Yeah.
Well, the only way you can follow up G1 Optimus Prime is with the Millennium Falcon.
Okay.
Again, just one of the classic toys of all time.
Fair enough.
Fucking excellent playset, because it was big enough that it was a playset, and it was also a ship. And the coolest thing you could do with it, because of the way the undercarriage worked, had a big bendy down handle, so you would just fly it holding onto the bottom.
Yeah, true. Did some of them have sound as well?
Yeah, the Millennium Falcon did lights and sound, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, batteries. Yeah, and I just remember my parents, they just, I know it sounds bad now because you're just like, oh, well, I'd like it mint in box, but they unboxed it and they put all the figures in it, so that when I got it for Christmas, it was already kitted out.
Yeah,
like,
that's nice.
Han and Chewie were in the cockpit, and then Obi-Wan and Luke and the droids were in the bit at the back, which is fucking fantastic.
Playing holochess.
The things with Star Wars figures, you never had any, but you always wanted more. But you never wanted to spend the money on them, but you always wanted more than one Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
You wanted to really one day just go, oh, do you know what? I don't want any new figures I haven't got yet. Just get me 10 Stormtroopers.
Yeah, so you can have a little squad.
No, the trick you missed there was just get me 10 leather cape Jawas.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yak face.
Paul?
Do you know what? I would have... It's not on my list because I knew Ross would mention it, but it would have been on my list. The Millennium Falcon is the classic. I had one. Bloody loved it. It was fantastic. As he says, so much you can do with it. But G1 Hot Rod.
Ooh.
G1 Hot Rod. I'll not tell the story again for everybody. I think it's on the previous episode as to why he's one of my favourites.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it was just a great, solid toy. It was brilliant, easy to transform, great little figure. Looked fucking awesome. Just so 80s.
True.
So yeah.
I'm about to pull the trigger on a fake Masterpiece Hot Rod.
Oh yeah. Cool.
Just to see how cool it is, because it's literally £20 delivered.
Oh, just get it. Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's just the coolest. I just love him.
Good stuff.
What about you, mate?
My radio-controlled car. My Tamiya Astute.
Classic.
I had it for such a long time. I tinkered with it, messed around with it, took it to radio-controlled car clubs and raced it. I loved it.
I had not a lunchbox, I had the Monster Beetle.
The Monster Beetle, yeah. Tamiya radio-controlled cars.
Their stuff's still brilliant.
Do they still do them?
They still basically make all the products they've ever made.
Wow.
Their catalogue's still the same.
Okay.
That you can still get all the really high detail 1/6 like military stuff.
Okay.
And they still make all of their radio control cars.
Amazing.
See, I always wanted one of these, but never got one. I always got the knockoff Tandy versions.
Okay. But yeah, the Tamiya ones, what an awesome present to buy for your kid, because it's a gift that keeps on giving. You can keep on modifying them and messing around with them, putting new motors in.
Because it's not a toy, is it? It's a
No.
it's
a machine.
An electronic model.
Yeah. And you could buy a
Get
new
better
shell.
Batteries.
Buy a new shell and repaint it, make it look completely different.
Because actually, what tended to happen with the Tamiya one, they had hard plastic shells, and they were really detailed, and you'd paint them all up, but then you would smash the shit out of them, and then you'd go and buy the spongy. Because back in those days, you had radio-controlled car shops, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened to fuck me?
Well, people stopped having radio-controlled cars. But the spent thing is now, if you wanted to get into radio-controlled cars, you could go and buy an absolutely bananas nitro or petrol one for like nothing.
Yes, this is
Like,
true. This is true.
For the level of expendable income that we have as like middle-aged men, nearly, we could, if you wanted to.
I ain't got a Quinton.
No, but if you really wanted to get into it and you went, I'm going to spend £300 on a radio-controlled car, you could get something that you could jump a house with.
Yeah, they are impressive now. There's a lot of clubs still out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's one just near us at Smallbrook Stadium, actually. I don't know if they still meet there, but yeah, about maybe 10 years ago, I decided to buy myself a Subaru Impreza Tamiya and go and visit one of these RC clubs at the Smallbrook Stadium. And yeah, I was quickly reminded how bad they are out of the box. It was rolling. I had some serious issues with cornering. It was really slow. It was embarrassing.
But then do you get that whole level of professional racing? Do you get this whole Days of Thunder vibe going on?
If I wanted to keep up or catch up with the guys that were there racing, because of what Ross has just said, you can afford quite easily to buy really, really amazing vehicles just like that, straight out of the box, or very easily. I don't know. I was just trying to relive a little bit of my childhood, so I just bought a radio control car.
But without going and 0% financing £1,000 worth of radio control car.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah,
but no, what I mean is, like, do you get the characters there like you would but on that micro scale? So you've got. There's Dennis. He's been racing for 15 years. He's undefeated with his petrol wagon.
Yeah, very true. Does happen.
Duncan from Bovington Tank Museum is definitely that sort of person.
He's a contender. He's a real contender.
I think the thing is now, like, as much as I'd love a radio control car, I think if I was going to spend that money, I'd spend it on a quadcopter.
Okay.
Yeah, like if I suddenly had £1,000 and they said you have to spend it on something that's radio controlled, I'd be like, yeah, I'll get a quad.
I suppose that's true. I mean, your modern day equivalent of your radio, the RC car fad, is the drone.
Maybe, yeah.
That's unique.
I still think that the car has got more to give because of the fact that you have to build it yourself. You can change the components.
You can build a quad yourself as well, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can buy a quad. You can buy everything you need to put a quad together as individual parts off of Alibaba.
Did any of you see that video on YouTube where the guy taxidermied his cat and turned it into a quadcopter?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing. All four limbs stuck out like that, and the screaming cat face. He said to keep the birds off his lawn. It's fucking amazing. His flying cat.
I'll share a link on our page, but
it's horrible.
It wasn't that long ago that I fluttered with the idea of radio controlled again and just looked at professional RC car driving, and they move so fast now. It's barely, the camera can barely keep up with the amount of frames per second.
Yeah.
And again, it's back to that thing where when you were younger, that Cannondale mountain bike was so far out of the realm of possibility, but to spend £2,000 on a mountain bike now isn't a crazy thing.
Yeah, true.
So it wouldn't be that hard to get back into radio-controlled cars.
Very true. When you can pick them up, like you say, as cheap as you can. And I actually didn't know that Tamiya did their full range. It's kind of exciting. I would buy one of those for my kid, definitely. Anyway, right.
Yeah, because you get the pleasure of building it.
Yeah, that's it.
Go on, Ross, your final fave.
My final fave is it's a tour. It's a tour, but they're intrinsically linked.
Go on then.
And I got them. I think I got them both at the same Christmas. But it was the ATST from Return of the Jedi and the speeder bike.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing about them was they're both mechanical in one way. Like the ATST had a button on the back, so it
made
warped,
the legs move. Yeah.
which made it brilliant. And the speeder bike had the button on the back that made it blow into 3 parts. And they're quite hard to separate as like toys because they're so. To me,
I know what you mean. Yeah,
it was almost impossible. But I definitely, I have strong memories of having more pleasure playing with those than pretty much anything else.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was probably about 7 by the time I got them, maybe. Yeah, maybe like old enough to really appreciate them.
It was always a bugger that the legs didn't bend on the figures though, and they were just sat straight out in front, wasn't it?
Yeah. They do. They did a black series of it, didn't they? Not that long ago. Yeah, I think it's the only vehicle they've ever done a black series of, but they do the large size black series, but it's the Scout bike.
Cool.
Pick up a fake one on eBay, probably.
Right. Go on, Paul.
Really difficult to pick one from the Mask range, but it's got to be for the same reason Ross mentioned about the Millennium Falcon, how it becomes a playset and a vehicle and everything.
Boulder Mountain?
Nope.
No.
Rhino.
Which one was Rhino?
The truck.
It
all opens up at the back. You've got a missile launcher and a computer base in there at the back end of it. The back end of the truck comes off, turns into an all-terrain vehicle. And you've got a ram section at the front of the truck.
I'm going to have to look this up.
You must remember, it's the main truck. The main big truck.
It's ringing bells, but I've got no solid memory of
And
it.
it came with 2 action figures. It
Right.
came with Matt Tracker and Bruce Satos, I think it was. And yeah, it's fucking awesome. I've got one again now. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Cool.
So yeah, that'll be mine. The whole range of masks. There was so many vehicles. There was Vandal and Piranha I loved as well, and the Gator. I had quite a few of them, but yeah, I'd say Rhino.
Isn't there a palette swap of Rhino? Isn't there like a bad
Yeah.
There's an oil tanker. It's
yeah.
the bad version of it.
Yeah, Snake Oil. What was it called? Oh, bloody hell. Someone out there will know straight away what it was. But it always escapes me the name of that one. It's not Volcano. That was the erupting... that was the good guy 4x... what do you call it? Monster truck. Oh, I've got it on the tip of my tongue there.
So Rhino's just the front of Optimus Prime. Yeah.
Pretty well. No, it's like GT Optimus Prime. Yeah, it's like the old style.
Well, like movie Optimus Prime.
Yeah, movie Prime. Yeah, basically, it looks like that. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. There was the bad guy equivalent, and that's a really cool one as well.
I think it's called Outlaw.
That's the one.
I'm not an expert on masks. I'm just looking at shit on the internet, and
Yeah,
it is
Outlaw.
definitely a black truck that turns into 2 fucking massive cannons.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, okay, and my last of my favourites is a collection. It's my Zoid collection, and I think there's a serious connection between a lot of my toys going on here. Again, it was something that I could build myself, and I was really proud of my collection. I had literally like 30 or 40 of these things because the local discount store sold them. So, cheap as chips, I picked one up on a Saturday morning with my pocket money for a couple of quid.
That's amazing.
And sometimes more than one. So I had absolutely loads of them. And I remember I had shelves in my room specifically for my Zoids collection. Yeah.
I don't think there's a bad one, actually. They're all fucking cool sides.
The ones that were supposed to go in water were always a letdown.
I don't know. Mine always worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always
the water gets in, mate. We'll find a way in.
Picture the advert. I always wanted the little squat blue team's tank that crashed into the big wheelie Sir Putney red one.
Yeah, I know,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know the one.
In the advert, and it beats the wheels off of the big wheelie one, doesn't it? Yeah. I always
know what
wanted
you mean.
that. I kept pointing that out. Talking of most disappointing, kept pointing that out in the advert and going, I want that one. Guess which one I got? The fucking big red wheelie one that the wheels get beat off. Fucking
excellent.
Oh shit!
Right, most disappointing.
Right, let's fire through these pretty quick, guys.
Right.
So most disappointing, all 3, and reasons why. Bang, bang, bang.
Okay. I never had this, and I only know one kid that had enough Star Wars that he ended up with stuff like this. But the Kenner Star Destroyer.
Never even saw it.
Right, know the Star Destroyer is one of the best things in Star Wars because it's a massive ship. In the toy form, it's just a play set, and it's basically...
It's like one room,
It's like one room, and it's like the room where Darth Vader can take his helmet off.
Right, okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can get Darth Vader and all the bounty hunters and say, you need to leave this square room and go and hunt Han Solo, and that's all you could do with it.
Right.
It was pretty bad.
Fair enough.
Yep.
But I know, I know a kid who had it because he had everything. It's the kid with the cardboard Death Star.
Okay.
And then, weirdly, my first radio-controlled car was a huge letdown.
Really?
My dad worked in America for a bit, and Days of Thunder had just come out, and I asked for one of the Days of Thunder stock cars, radio-controlled cars. They were okay. They were Tyco, so they weren't like... But it was never designed to go on any surface. It wouldn't drive on carpet properly because it was only like 1/48 scale, so it's quite a lot smaller than like a Tamiya, which was probably 132 or 124.
Yeah.
So it's 132 scale. So it only had like rubber, like stock car wheels that were about 1.5 inches, sort of like 4 centimeters. And it was shit. It took forever to charge up because it didn't have a cool battery in, because radio control cars did they?
No.
You couldn't drive it along the pavement. It couldn't handle paving slabs, and it could barely handle anything other than freshly laid tarmac and lino.
Fair enough.
And so that is one of my most disappointing toys. And then the other one, I've spoken about it before. I asked for Castle Grayskull, and I got the fucking Britain's Castle. That wasn't to scale with any toys I have, because we all did that thing where we just played with toys together, didn't we?
Yeah, true.
Where it's like Han Solo could be friends with Matt Tracker.
Yeah.
And live in Optimus Prime. But when you've got a Britain's Castle set where the guys are like fucking 2 inches, you can't do anything with it. He-Man would just kept 1 foot on one side of the moat and 1 foot on the other side of the moat.
Giant man.
So yeah, they're my 3 most disappointing.
Cool.
Right, mine. I'm just going to go for...
Go for it, mate.
Yeah, Garfield plushies.
Garfield plushies.
Everyone had them. Everybody went mad for Garfield back in the day.
Right.
And you had to have the plushies, and they were so expensive, and you're looking at £10 a pop. And you get it, and you take it home, and you think, I've got it. And you put it on the shelf, you think, what the fuck am I going to do with that?
Did you have everyone have the Garfield things on top of their pencils at school as well? You know, like you get little plastic toys with a hole in their butt.
Pencil topper.
Yeah, loads of kids at school had Garfield. I think it was, you were only into Garfield if your parents read the newspaper that Garfield was in.
No, it was the cartoon that got me into it. Then it was then you found the books. They brought them
books,
out. All the books. I collected the books, and the books were fine. That was great. And then after the cartoon and the books and the videos were a ball ache to get hold of. I managed to get hold of VHS, and then you found the plush, and you got them, and it was just, what the fuck do I do with this?
I didn't find it until later in life, but do you know what absolutely smashes Garfield to pieces?
Go on.
Calvin and Hobbes.
Don't know
It's an absolute masterpiece.
So that's the tiger and the little boy?
It's the little boy whose tiger is real when he's playing with him.
Yes.
But he's just a toy.
Do you know the little fan theory about these characters?
Yeah, we spoke about it on the podcast.
Did we?
Once, yeah.
That he's the guy from Fight Club.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So he's always had an imaginary friend.
Yeah, excellent. But the best thing with Calvin and Hobbes is the guy has never licensed it.
Right.
Ever. He's made enough money.
Oh, yeah.
He's got there's a really
good...
good documentary on Netflix about him, and he's made enough money from the comics, and he's never licensed it, so it's never been devalued in any way.
Right.
And you can buy it complete in a 4-volume set in a box. You know, like when a really nice book comes. And I've got that, and I've got the old ones. I had some of the collected ones. I gave them to my nephew, but it's just beautiful and hilarious.
Okay.
And you can relate to it so much because it's just about a little boy making shit up in his head.
Cool.
But then obviously clever politics and stuff in there.
Worth a little shot at some point. Yeah.
Always Calvin Hobbes was brilliant.
Cool. Paul?
Don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but a lot of nerds out there will be. G.I. Joe, Master of Disguise, Zartan. The advert promised the fucking earth. This guy could colour change, shape shift, his face would change from face to face, and I just wanted this figure so much. It was a standard G.I. Joe figure, and he came with his sled. Sled was shit, and his face changed because he had a little clip-on face.
Right.
I could forgive that. That was all right. His colour changing consisted of 3 little rub stickers that didn't even... You just put them in hot water and they'd go a bit green.
Right.
But on the advert, it implied he'd just fucking chameleon. He just turned green, or he'd turn red. He'd do anything. That's how I remember it anyway, but it could be very different now. But that happened a lot in the 80s. The adverts would promise the fucking earth, and you got the toy. Were a massive letdown. That happened quite often. But Zartan was that. You know, a lot of people say it's when they get to their mid-teens and something happens, like you have to go out and buy your own birthday cake and things like that, and you kind of go, yeah, life ain't a bed of roses, is it? It's not as exciting as I thought it might be.
Cool, Bon Jovi's reference as well.
Have I?
Yeah, it's just bed of roses, mate.
Oh, shit, yeah, sorry.
Don't tell him that, he'll have a panic attack.
I will.
Go
on. Yeah, and that was one of those moments that I realised, yep, life ain't all it's cracked up to be.
People will fuck you.
Zartan is full of shit. No matter how much of a master of disguise he says he is, he's full of shit.
Fair enough.
Yeah, my final one. I've got 3. I couldn't make my mind up. I'm going to throw them all together. I think they're all bollocks. It's probably in order of bollocks. I'd say the least bollocks in this 3 would be Karate Kid series of toys.
Oh, I remember
It
those.
was a nice idea, doesn't work as a toy,
No.
but yeah. If someone wanted to give me a batch now, I'd quite happily display them, but only because they're so shit.
Got really bad moulds, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Micro Machines, I think they're well overrated. They
Yeah.
were just little squat, stuffy little bastards.
But they come in
cars
pack
that
of
did-
5.
Yeah. They come in a pack of 5 and you do fuck all with
The
them. They're
only
just
good
you're
thing-
going to lose them down the back of the sofa.
Again, you had to be a rich kid to appreciate micro machines
I
because you
think
had lots of those little unfold-out square sets.
Yeah.
That made a cool little town to drive
See,
your cars
that
around.
made sense, but the cars themselves were just shit. They were just well overrated. But they brought about some of the best Transformers out there, so I was happy
Okay.
with that.
Fair enough.
Last of all, Muscles.
Muscles.
Really?
Really?
Hey, I liked muscles.
I loved
Yeah,
them.
they're great, but what can you do with them? No posability. They're tiny. They're not in scale with anything else.
Do you
They're
know
just
what I'd
pink.
like-
There's fuck all on them.
Do you know what I'd like to do now? I'd like to really well paint some.
Yeah, that
Like,
would
somebody,
work.
Somebody sort me out some muscles, but then I'll paint them like with my acrylics.
World of
I'll
Warcraft.
airbrush them so they look really sick.
They fetch quite a lot of money though, don't they?
They can do. Some do because they only produced a handful of them, and some can go for ridiculous money, up to thousands,
Right.
because they're so rare.
I see.
But
there
they're
was-
just Garbage Pail Kids, but a physical version, aren't they? Just weird.
Sort of.
weird
But
yeah, but it's just the weird stupidness of it, isn't it?
the Garbage Pail Kids work. There was a lot of detail there. The
some of
car,
them were just buildings.
But
like
yeah. Oh, I've got.
man building.
I mean, I'm slagging them off, but I've got nearly half the entire collection.
I had an absolute shed load of them.
But they are rubbish. They're great, but rubbish at the same time. What the fuck do you do as a kid? What do you do with them? Nothing.
I need to watch the advert.
They're
I
just.
just remember Muscle Man or something.
Yeah.
Were
but-
they fake ones when they were different colour?
No.
Or did Muscles just decide to start making them different colours?
They just
later
decided
on?
to make them different colours.
Oh,
I
so
think
they
there
were
are
legit?
knockoffs out there, but they're all legit. Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
I always
think
thought
it
they were
was
fakes.
7
There was
different
something
colour
similar
variations.
to that not that long ago called Moshi Monsters.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
Moshi Monsters. Trash packs were good. Do you see the trash packs?
No.
They were really good. That was a really good take on it. They were all basically bits of rotten shit that you'd find in a bin, but they're all given like anthropomorphic life sort of thing. They were squishy,
Okay.
and they're all given like little bios and everything, and they're all different things, and they're all really well painted. They were brilliant.
Cool.
Anyway, that's
Right,
mine.
okay. My worst toys. Fucking Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Bollocks.
Motherfucker. I remember getting one and it was just the biggest
Do you know
paperweight.
the only thing I ever tried to do in Etch-a-Sketch was completely fill it in like I was playing a really long game of Snake?
Right, okay. But yeah, there's no way you could really draw anything on that.
No.
Surely, this again, the advert promised the world and like nice pictures of like people, pictures of gardens and things.
Well, yeah, because do you know what? It's
stupidly
bollocks. It's
detailed.
'cause you can't erase anything.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you had to
Well,
be
you
like
can.
autistic to do. Well, and
Give
you
it a
can't
good
do
shake,
anything other than.
but it's all at once.
And then when you try and go, I'll try and do a diagonal. 1 pixel up, 2 pixels. Ah, fuck it.
Tell you what, the better one of them.
Spirograph.
No, Magnadoodle. Do you remember that one?
Magnadoodles are
That
better.
one
Oh,
way
is that
better.
one where you just draw and then go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solves the problem.
Never end that. Even when you just fucked up your drawing, it's like
See,
so
I think
satisfying.
your house is retro enough. You should have one of those on your fridge to write
Yeah, I'd
your
love it.
wife notes.
I would love one.
The bean tin's the wrong way up.
Yeah. He's only 12 bean tins. He needs to be 13 to cancel out the evil.
I want to laugh, but it's probably not funny.
It is. Depends what perspective you're looking at it.
Megatron. That was a bloody disappointing toy for me.
Yeah.
You know why?
I nearly put him on my list for
It
disappointing. Go on.
fucking broke like
Everybody's
so
did.
quickly.
Everybody's did.
Snapped
He's a
right on
bad.
the waist.
He's an example of good vehicle, bad robot.
Yeah, amazing gun. And then the robot just terrible looking, but snapped like so quickly. I was so pleased when I got it, and I suppose it might have lasted a couple of weeks.
My brother got one for Christmas. I broke it. I felt terrible. I ended up getting another one, in later years to say sorry. But he took his back to the shop at Christmas.
Right.
It was that bad, that toy. He came back with 4 My Little Ponies instead.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Which
I
brother?
can imagine Graham
That's
doing
Graham.
that.
Graham.
Fucking mental.
Is he a brony?
I reckon he's a closet brony, yeah, definitely. I've
He's
bought
no
a few-
closet about him.
No, he's no
So,
closet. He's well out of the closet, but
Hi, Graham, if you're listening,
yeah.
show us your pony collection.
Show me your pony.
Pony Ecigs.
Right. And my last one,
Yeah.
because you shouldn't give it to a kid, but I got it quite a lot, It's fucking plasticine.
Oh, that's the bomb.
No, it's not. Cause
It's not. It's rubbish. You mash it all together. It goes great.
yeah, and like it'd show you lots of nice designs on the packet, and you think I'll have a go at making those, and it just turns into grey mush.
Do you know what was better, but it was really expensive?
Go on.
Fimo.
I did have
That's
some
the
Fimo.
modelling. You bake it off.
Yeah.
It was like really well coloured. Like it was almost like a vinyl-y acrylic in it, wasn't it? To make it.
Every now and then,
and you just whack it in the oven.
I'd get some Fimo, but again, that wasn't until much later in life. I was probably sort of a young teenager by the time I started playing with Fimo. You shouldn't give plasticine to a 4-year-old kid.
No,
I don't think.
plasticine's great because when you got
Play-Doh, fine.
When you got bored of an action figure, you give him some sort of plasticine skin, and then you get your other figure and stab him the fuck with it, and he'd all guts would come out and plasticine guts. I had loads of maybe that's why I need more therapy. But hey, I enjoyed doing that as a kid. I don't think I'm the only one.
Do you know what? I'm surprised that didn't make it onto any of our most coveted lists.
Go on.
Was Soundwave.
Soundwave. Oh, I had him.
I had him. A kid fucking broke him, and then I wanted him badly for years. And he was one of the reasons I got back into collecting.
I think he's at some level he's the quintessential Transformer in the fact that he's the cool, like of the G1 toys, he's the coolest robot and the coolest, like percentage wise, he's the coolest robot versus coolest what he transforms into.
His rocket launcher was a battery, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's such a good idea.
It's fucking brilliant.
But again, it's more a case of he was one of the really clever Diaclones, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Really translated well into because he makes a large scale. He makes a good large scale like tape cassette, like almost a Walkman sort of size in real life, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Had the little, but had laser, came with Laserbeak.
Yep.
And I think he's probably one of the best Transformers they've ever made.
Well, it's like you say, once you've got him, you've got all his minions to collect as well. So it starts that whole. You know what I mean? It's like you're constantly adding to him. Brilliant. Yeah.
Never did have any other tapes, but yeah.
I did. I had Rat Bat, and then Paul gave me a Rat Bat much later on. I think it was a knockoff.
Did they do
That's
Ravage as well?
Ravage.
And Rumble.
I think at a later date he came with sorry, the other tapes, there was 5 tapes, wasn't there? And
more than that, mate.
No, but to start with there was 5 it came with Laserbeak, and then the others came in 2 packs. So you had Ravage and Rumble, and then Frenzy and
Laserbeak. He came with Buzzsaw.
Right, okay.
The Buzzsaw was the exclusive.
Rumble, Frenzy, Rat Bat, Engage.
Right, guys, we should wrap this up and get out of here.
Let's crack the nuts inside.
Because we've recorded 3 bloody podcasts this evening. So, yeah.
It's dark outside.
It's very dark outside.
I need a torch
and
to
I need
get
some
home.
food, and I need to watch Game of Thrones.
So it's very good.
Yeah? Okay, I'm very
7
much looking
Samurai,
forward to it.
mate. 7 Samurai.
Oh, okay, right, enough said. Right, Paul, where can we find you?
You can't find me, I'll be hiding, but you can find my shops. They are Rocket Punch Collectables and Curiosity. They're both on Facebook and on eBay. Go check them out. And that's that.
Roscoe?
Yeah, no, just find me on PlayStation Network, rosscobaby, and shoot me with a tank in Battlefield.
Right, and me, you can find me editing this podcast, and you can find our Facebook page, of course, SNEW with the Crew on Facebook. Or you can find my personal music page on there as well, Chris Quinton's Music and Things, if you fancy taking a look. And this podcast, of course, is available via Libsyn, Sticher, Soundcloud, YouTube, all the usual places that you can find podcasts.
Podcast app on your phone,
Absolutely.
iTunes.
Yep. You're already listening to this podcast anyway, so you know where to find it. But please share it with your friends. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you fancy getting in touch, snewwiththecrew@gmail.com. Send us some questions. You've been a listener. We've been SNEW with the Crew. Say goodbye, guys.
Ta-ra, you shitters.